George Santos is a fraud, George Santos doesn't belong in Congress, or whatever is the garbage that politicians are saying on both sides of the aisle, because these people have one thing that astonishes me every single day that I'm in their presence is they all act like they are on ivory towers with white pointy hats and they're untouchable. I mean, within the ranks of the United States Congress, there's felons galore. There's people with all sorts of shisty backgrounds. And all of a sudden, George Santos is the Mary Magdalene of United States Congress. We're all going to stone this motherfucker because it's just politically expedient.
Hey everyone, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and welcome back to another episode of What Was That? So it looks like George Santos is about to be expelled from Congress, but he's not going out without a fight. He went on an unhinged 3-hour tirade on Twitter Spaces, and wow, it was something else. And don't worry, I listened to it so you don't have to.
And when did it actually take its first victim? It will be me, period. Because I know I'm going to get expelled when this expulsion resolution goes to the floor, because people are so quick to judge and ask and demand for political expediency. And this is what this is. It's political expediency. So have at it. It's a badge of honor for me.
The lady doth protest too much, methinks.
Well, since we're covering the scandal-plagued Republican George Anthony Qatar Ravash DeVolder Zabrowski Santos, that means it's time for another edition of Who the F*** is George Santos? The House Ethics Committee just released its much-anticipated report on its investigation into Santos, and it's even weirder than we could have imagined.
The chairman of the House Ethics Committee filed a resolution to kick Congressman George Santos out of Congress. This follows the release of the committee's scathing report, which found Santos used campaign cash to fund some interesting shopping habits, from everything from Ferragamo shoes to Botox to OnlyFans to weekends in Atlantic City.
The guy was using campaign money to pay for Botox treatments and OnlyFans, which makes this interview from March a bit awkward.
Speaking of peel, is it true that you have an OnlyFans page and you can peel a banana with your feet?
I don't have one, and it's, you know, I'll indulge you this. I just discovered what OnlyFans was about 3 weeks ago when it was brought up in a discussion in my office.
What do you think?
And I was oblivious to the whole concept.
You just can't tell the truth.
So without further ado, here is Santos in a Twitter space whining about the Ethics Committee's report.
I was put under the microscope. So God forbid if I didn't have, I don't know, a speeding ticket paid, that was going to be looked into. That is what happens when the full force of a committee literally goes through your whole life. Now, most members never experience that. Matter of fact, it's rare that they do this to a member, specifically without any kind of indictment. And remember, this investigation was opened in February. Yes, I was indicted subsequently in May.
This is what Santos sounds like. Okay, fine, guys. I was indicted on 13 felony counts in May and then an additional 10 felony counts in October from a superseding indictment, but like, that doesn't mean the Ethics Committee was justified to open an investigation in me, right? But as Santos later admits, he's not a lawyer.
I'm not a lawyer. Don't pretend to be a lawyer. It's just, you know, I'm not really big on legal stuff.
Santos may not be big on legal stuff, but he is very big on illegal stuff. George Santos is only furious because he thought he was going to be in the clear when Congress passed a new set of rules that would severely weaken the ability of the Office of Congressional Ethics to investigate members of Congress suspected of wrongdoing. In January, Santos was very happy and said, and I quote, "I think it's fantastic." Definitely something that someone trying to avoid being investigated would say after their lies are exposed to the country.
It is nothing more than a mere attempt at a smear, or call it another indictment if you want, for the lack of purposes. It reads like a biased political hit piece that should be treated as an indictment, not as something to draw conclusions from. Not only that, the slanderous language that is used and the hypocritical bias and the amount of hyperbole in this document.
Slanderous language? The report literally lists out Santos's own receipts. Again, the guy stole money from his contributors and then used campaign money to pay off his debts, buy luxury items, get Botox, and pay for OnlyFans.
I have spoken to prominent Democrats who were troubled by the work of this committee.
Democrats said that? Yeah, I'll take 1,000 for things that
Never happened.
But let's get back to Santos playing the victim.
It's flawed. It was designed to smear me. It was designed to force me out of my seat. That is what the intention of this report was. This report wasn't a finding of facts. This report wasn't an attempt to draw conclusions. And the committee itself and the chairman embarrassingly said it to the entire country. We're not recommending anything because this is not conclusionary. There's no conclusion to this report.
And right on cue, Santos lies again. There actually was a conclusion to the report. Several, to be exact. Maybe Santos should take a moment to chill out. I think he'd actually benefit from today's sponsor, Beam. Did you know that poor sleep can cause weight gain, mood issues, poor mental health, and lower productivity? Sleep is the foundation of our mental and physical health and performance in our days. Having a consistent nighttime routine is non-negotiable. I know in my own life, sleep is something that I always try to work on and improve, or else I just end up being unproductive, and as a result, my work suffers. Introducing Beam Dream. You know we've been raving about Beam Dream's powder, their healthy hot cocoa for sleep. And today, my listeners get a special discount on Beam's Dream Powder, their best-selling healthy hot cocoa for sleep with no added sugar. Now available in delicious seasonal flavors like cinnamon cocoa, sea salt caramel, and white chocolate peppermint. Better sleep has never tasted better. Dream contains a powerful all-natural blend of reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, melatonin, and nano CBD to help you fall asleep, stay asleep, and wake up refreshed. A recent clinical study revealed Dream helped 93% of users wake up feeling more refreshed, and 93% reported that Dream helped them get a more restful night's sleep. Just mix Dream Beam into hot water or milk, stir or froth, and enjoy before bedtime. Personally, I'm a big fan of the cinnamon cocoa flavor, and I was pleasantly surprised to find out how well it worked to help me fall asleep and stay asleep through the night. Find out why Forbes and New York Times are all talking about Beam and why it's trusted by the world's top athletes and business professionals. If you want to try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder, take advantage of their biggest sale of the year and get up to 50% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Gabe. The discount is auto-applied at checkout, no code necessary. That's shopbeam.com/Gabe for up to 50% off. And here's where the rant starts to get interesting.
George Santos is a fraud. George Santos doesn't belong in Congress, or whatever is the garbage that politicians are saying on both sides of the aisle, because these people have one thing that astonishes me every single day that I'm in their presence is they all act like they are on ivory towers with white pointy hats and they're untouchable. I mean, within the ranks of the United States Congress, there's felons galore. There's people with all sorts of shisty backgrounds. And all of a sudden, George Santos is the Mary Magdalene of United States Congress. We're all going to stone this motherfucker because it's just politically expedient, right? Now, no pun intended, I was born on Mary Magdalene's Day, which is July 22nd, which I find it to be absolutely ironic.
Now, Wikipedia does say that Santos was born on July 22nd, but we all know that Santos made fake entries on Wikipedia in 2011, saying that he starred in Disney Channel shows like The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody and Hannah Montana. So when it comes to his real birthday, you could say the jury is still out.
There's things in there that are so wrong because it was politically motivated, not legally motivated, that it's so easy to dispel. It's just sheer laziness and the attempt to be dirty, the attempt to push me out. Well, guess what? It's not going to work. I will defend myself to the end of time.
I'm pretty sure you all get it by now, but Santos' whole narrative of I'm innocent and I will defend myself is complete bullshit. Santos did not submit a signed written statement to investigators, he did not respond to requests for documents, he did not voluntarily testify, and he did not provide a statement under oath. So per usual, Santos is trying to spin what happened so he can play the victim and act like a martyr, but he won't defend himself because he has nothing that can prove his innocence.
I want to see Michael Guest, the chairman of ethics, put his resolution. Matter of fact, I think he should be a man and stop being a pussy and call the privilege on the damn motion, since he introduced it with no privileges because he thought that he was going to bully me out of Congress. It ain't going to be the dude from Mississippi that's going to kick me, a New Yorker, out of Congress. No offense to people from Mississippi, but making that very, very clear, it's going to take a lot more than that. And I've made it very clear. I'm not running for re-election, not because this was a damning report.
You sure about that?
Here's Santos saying that he would run for re-election if he was expelled just days before that report came out.
They expel you, and then they put someone else in the seat. You're going to run in 2024.
Absolutely.
Can you win a primary, given all these
Yes.
things that are lined up against you?
Yes.
And the general election. This is a Biden-leaning district, and you have all these issues against you.
Could I have won the general election last time? Nobody said I could, but I
It
still
was a
tried.
different situation.
And this is the part of Santos's tirade that really gets wild.
I'm not running for re-election because I don't want to work with a bunch of hypocrites. It's gross. I have colleagues who are more worried about getting drunk every night with the next lobbyist that they're going to screw and pretend like none of us know what's going on and sell off the American people, not show up to vote because they're too hungover or whatever the reason is, or not show up to vote at all and just give their card out like fucking candy for someone else to vote for them. This shit happens every single week. Where are the ethics investigations and that? That breaks House rules. All of this shit they're coming after me is before I was even a member of Congress. Yet these members behave abominably while they're in Congress. So that's what we're up against. It's the sheer thickness of the hypocrisy of Washington, D.C. I don't care. You want to expel me? I'll wear it like a badge of honor. I'll be the 6th expelled member of Congress in the history of Congress. And guess what? I'll be the only one expelled without a conviction. I'll be expelled because people simply did not like me. Because they thought that they didn't want me. I'm too much of an outsider. I buck the system. I buck leadership. I vote against leadership. I like my leadership, but I don't agree with them 100% of the time.
So now, I guess the only play that Santos has is calling his colleagues hypocrites because, screw it, why not?
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Is it just me, or is anyone else getting Madison Cawthorn vibes right now?
Then all of a sudden you get invited to, like, well, hey, we're gonna have kind of a sexual get-together at one of our homes. You should come. And I'm like, what did you just ask me to come to? Yeah. And then you realize they're asking you to come to an orgy.
And we all remember what happened to Madison Cawthorn, right? Photos leaked of Cawthorn wearing women's lingerie in a public setting, and then a video leaked of Cawthorn naked while humping his cousin on a bed. Not to mention that weird butt mohawk he had. But hey, if Santos plans to scorch the Republican Party on the way out, so be it. I won't stop him. Just make sure to grab your popcorn for the show. Well, that's all for me today. Thanks so much for watching, and feel free to follow me at I am Gabe Sanchez. If you liked today's episode and want to support me as an independent creator, you can join my personal Patreon and pick your tier to unlock exclusive content and perks not available to the public. Think of it like having backstage access to my show. You can subscribe today at patreon.com/IamGabeSanchez. So until next episode, I'm Gabe Sanchez, and this has been... what was that?